ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Gray, and it's cold outside. And this is my buddy Jim Fuller right here.
That's right. It is cold outside, and we're without Peggy today because she kind of lives in the country and didn't make it today. And,
she's got to go over the river and through the woods to get here.
That's right. Actually, it's kind of funny. Here we sit in the studio. There's four of us here in the studio this morning. It's usually bustling with activity.
Right.
But,
Julia's not here.
Snow's
Peggy's
kept
not
everybody
here.
in. So yeah.
And it wasn't like you and I were just saying when we got up this morning. It wasn't snowing.
No.
And now it's about 9 o'clock, and I think it's getting worse as it goes.
It is.
Because it's frozen out there.
Exactly, and the temperature is not going to get above freezing for the next
15.
Today at all, and tomorrow either. I don't think.
Right. No, high tomorrow is going to be like 20 something.
Yeah, so it could be
And tonight it's supposed to be 6.
Yeah.
6.
With a wind chill below zero.
Below 6.
Yeah, unreal. We're just not put together to put up with this kind of deal with this kind of stuff, are we?
But it's really it's okay. We've had a couple of weeks of cold weather, and we'll have us a little snow here, and then things will be different. They're always different around here. It doesn't take long.
That's one of the great things about living in Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 or 3 days ago, it was 60.
Yeah, and I think this weekend it's going to be in the high 50s.
High 50s.
Yeah.
So, hey, it'll be all right. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
What about all the big football teams other than the Patriots? All the big boys have been beaten.
That's right. It's going to be a different kind of Super Bowl probably.
It really is.
Patriots are going to play a good Jacksonville team. And
Jacksonville gave Ben Roethlisberger, who threw for more yards than anybody ever had in a playoff game, and they still beat him. They beat him like a drum.
Right.
Well, it's hard to say they beat him like a drum when they scored 42 points.
Right.
But it was fun to watch. I mean, these games have really been fun.
Yeah, the Saints Vikings. I mean,
last minute,
29 seconds left, and the Vikings get the ball down. One, and they come back and won the game in the last 29 seconds. I guess it ain't over till it's over.
It's not over till it's over. Time running out.
Yeah.
Time running out, and the old boy they're talking about up in the Eagleville up there at Eagle Land, they lost their quarterback, and they have this other guy in there, and so people saying, oh, well, they just don't think he can do it. Well, guess what? He's doing it.
Yeah, right.
He's doing it. Right. And poor old Blake Bortles down there in Jacksonville, they've been laughing at him for about the last 6 weeks. Well, guess what? He's winning.
He's winning. That's right.
Perfect. He's perfect.
And I'll tell you somebody else. I have to say this because I always thought this kid was really good. He's probably 21 by now. Is Alvin Kamara that plays for the Saints?
Oh.
That played for the Tennessee Vols, and somehow had difficulty getting on the field up there. And I'm not second guessing the coaching at that stage of the game.
Should be.
But look at this guy.
He's going to be Rookie of the Year.
He's going to be Rookie of the Year in the NFL, and he's averaging about 7 yards a carry.
Yeah, magic.
The guy catches passes. He's got about 800 yards receiving.
Yeah, he can do it all.
And he also returns kickoffs, and he's got one that he returned for 106 yards.
Yeah, he can do it all.
He
can do it all, and Butch couldn't see that. Butch was blind.
How does that happen?
Butch is gone.
Goodness. That's just unreal.
So it's exciting. It's exciting, all this stuff, and we hope you folks have enjoyed. Hope your team's still playing. I want to make one little remark right here, and this is to the family of Betty Thomas, a dear friend of mine. And this community, Miss Betty Thomas passed away the other day, and her husband Jimmy and her daughter and her son and the whole family. Our thoughts are with you. My thoughts and our family's thoughts are with you. Betty was one of those gals who was one of the most fun-loving people you'd ever want to be around. Always had a smile on her face and loved a good joke better than anything in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm a jokester, and Betty and I had laughed and had such good times together, and she will be missed greatly by many, many folks. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's football time in Tennessee, and nobody tackles the competition like the Russell Barnett Automotive family. With 6 different locations, 8 new car franchises, over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, a certified collision center with lifetime paint guarantee, Russell Barnett Hometown Auto Rental. Let our family exceed your expectations at the Russell Barnett Automotive family. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rickman.
I am Pat Welch, and John, we're here today for segment 74 of the Conversation with John and Pat.
Pat, I've never done this song publicly because I never thought I could remember all the words.
John, when you get down to 74, it's time to get into some.
Ray Noah's requested this one time when we were playing music for an organization, and I said, Ray, I'm sorry, we've never done this song before. He likes it, though, and I like it. I just hope I remember the words.
Well, hopefully our viewership will like it.
This is where Mr. Osteen came from, Caney Springs. Well, I was walking down the road from my grandma's house to the Caney Springs General Store. I held my head up high, a better than thou, look a know-it-all city boy. I was staying all night with Grandma, a real Dragon A1 bore. But I was happy when she told me to run a little errand to the Caney Springs General Store. At the corner of the store, men was pitching horseshoes, having a hot contest. I walked up proud, sizing up the crowd, and I could tell that I was the best. I spied a country boy eating sardines and crackers, sitting on a dusty car hood. I said, you want to play a game? And he said, I guess so, but let me warn you, I'm not too good. Well, we found us a pit and played a practice round, and old country couldn't find the range. I felt Granny's grocery money jingling in my pocket, so I challenged him a $1 game. He said, I can play 3 games, but then I gotta go. I should have been home by now. I thought to myself, you be wishing you was when I get through cleaning your plow. Well, we played for real, and it was easy pickings, cause I skunked him 11-0. I got greedy all over as he handed me $1, and the crowd began to grow. And the second game was just like the first. I skunked old country again. He said I might as well just lose it all, unless you and I play for a 10. I said, okay, country, as he aimed through his shoe and stepped forward with a dead-eye throw. I saw some old men kind of punching each other like they knew something I didn't know. He threw 3 straight ringers and a 3-point leaner before I could even turn around. I knew Caney Springs loved the circus, and they appointed me the clown. Well, I left the store and I could hear them laughing, not a grocery to my name. Granny met me on the front porch steps, and you should have heard me explain. I told her about old country boy and how he laid a perfect trap. She said, you fool, you've been taken in by the Caney Springs General Store champ. But it wasn't perfect, but I got through it.
John, I don't know if I've ever clapped before, but that's the first time I've heard that song too. I almost felt like an urge to get to my feet.
I've always been a coward to try that song too many times.
Well, it's good. Have we gone over the Caney Springs attributes before? I think we're talking about Coach Osteen being from there. Well, you took me over there one day, and there's more rock visible on the ground than there is ground, and they farm that.
They say there's 2 rock for every dirt.
That would put it at 66.6%.
Mr. Osteen was raised over there, and he was raised in a rugged area. You know, it's rugged. They're primitive.
I believe you could find a fine football team with the inhabitants of the area. If you're going to farm there, you're going to have to be tough.
You would recognize today, though, houses being built over there. It's near
It'd be a firm foundation.
Yeah. We're talking about a relative of mine today. His name is Landon Haynes. He was named, I think, for some senator or someone back in the past. I didn't look him up to find out what he was known for, but he was named for someone famous in politics.
John, let me interject real quick. Now, is Haynes your mother's side or your father's side?
That's my daddy's side.
Okay.
My grandmother was a Haynes, and Landon's daddy was my grandmother's brother.
Okay.
Or sister, well, whatever I say. I can't remember how I put it there. But I want to put up our first picture there, Philip, if you will. That's Landon right there, and Landon wasn't original. Now, he just was somebody, education can spoil somebody's originality. I don't think Landon ever got spoiled. And he was
double sure he wasn't.
He was a smart guy. Now, don't get me wrong. Now he's dancing at a political rally. He liked to dance. He and his wife they went to dances and that sort of thing. And Landon was married to Faye. I used to work on their farm, and she would feed you so much, much good food, vegetables and meat, and just wonderful food. You couldn't hardly bend over in the afternoon, to pick up a hay bale or whatever it was. And go to the next picture there. Now that's a young John Rickman there, second to the left, and Landon's there, And do you
John, that's Comstock on the right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is that Jimmy to the left?
Jimmy's to the left.
Wow, I don't know if I've ever seen him with that much hair.
Let me show you. Now, this was at some sort of political rally in Lewisburg, and you see those suits that we're wearing? We got those at Jimmy Phillips' store here in Tullahoma. Jimmy one time had us play for a block party up in Tullahoma. He said, "John, I have no money for you, but I can get you some outfits." He had Clyde Phillips men's store, and so we wore those as long as they fit us. and that was the outfits. They had a vest to them. It was very nice, and Jimmy did us right. We would have paid a lot of money for that.
John, that picture of you, that's not taken too far from the time period that I've described where you could have been a cast member of Beach Bank Bingo.
It was a different time there, Pat. And it was a good time, and I'm still there, Pat.
Oh yeah,
I'm still there.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure what movie you'd be cast in now, but
Landon was a painter by trade, farmer and painter, and he wrote this book, Through My Eyes, A Painter's Diary, and this is from 1950 to 1964. He talked about every place that he went to paint from that time, and he was a good painter. I painted for him one time, and I helped shingle a house one time, put shingles on a house, and but I remember how particular he was about painting. If he wanted you to hold the brush like this, he said, people that don't know what they're doing hold him like this. He said you got to hold him like an artist.
Here we go.
But anyway, in this book, he writes a lot of things about people. And he didn't spare any feelings, He said here, this was in 19, what is it there? I don't know the exact date, but He painted the Unionville Methodist Church, finishing floors. He was a floor finisher. First time I worked in a church and got drunk. Yes, got drunk on lacquer fumes. Almost passed on to another world.
Well, if a church isn't ventilated, as much hardwood's got in there, that could happen.
This is from a Mr. Robert Burroughs. He was a laborer there. Edward Collins built Robert's house. Robert's wife was Mr. Wiley Clanton's girl. Had some trouble with some drunks on the job. My two brothers used to work for me.
With the emphasis on the term used.
Yeah. And then he paints for a lawyer over in Lewisburg. He was a bad one. I thought every time I had to be in court, he was on the opposite side of me. He was the most money-hungry lawyer I ever saw. I didn't mention his name.
Good for you.
Somebody might be listening. Now, this is Aunt Polly. That was my grandmother. Her name was really Mary, but Polly was what a lot of people call. This woman did more for me than most people. Aunt Polly taught in Una and Chapel Hill. My hometown bootlegger said she had whipped him. He goes through, I mean, stuff all through here. Now, his daughter typed all this up. Aunt Polly, again, Aunt Polly, my favorite aunt. She clothed me until I was old enough to buy my own clothes. I never had such a good friend as she.
John, are we headed to the point where he danced with Rosalind Carter at some point, didn't he?
Yeah. Go to that
Carter's
next
wife.
Picture. Maybe we'll find it, maybe we won't.
I hope I hadn't.
My sequence. Oh, there it is, Pat.
Is that not incredible?
That was in the Washington Post. Landon went up to Miss Carter and said, Miss Carter.
Well, what was he went, just decided I'm going to the inauguration?
No, well, they were at Murfreesboro at the Oaklands. Oakland's over there at Murfreesboro.
Okay.
And he went up, Miss Carter and I guess President Carter were there doing some politicking, you know, and Landon went up to Miss Carter. They were playing music, and he said, Miss Carter, may I have the honor of this dance with you? Certainly you may. And they danced, and this went out all over the world, Pat, all over the world.
I understand, but it doesn't surprise me coming from the Rickman family.
Well, you know, you see that hat on his head? It's sort of set on there in a little
noble
way.
Noble
I guess
placement.
that's a good way to say
correct.
that. And then Miss Carter had written him a letter about that. And that picture right there was in a frame, and it stayed on the dash of his truck. And whenever he wanted to make a conversation with someone, you know, about him, this is a picture of me and Miss Carter dancing. You know. He says, this was December 16th, 1983. Once I was painting a house in Chapel Hill. There was a young lady sunbathing next door. It was a healing sight to a man. The man I was painting for accused me of painting that side of the house 3 times, but I think I just painted it twice.
John, you've got some colorful members of your family.
Yeah.
Now, I know that one of his ancestors, you had a Columbus Haynes.
Yeah.
He was a colonel and fought in the Civil War and took a mini ball through the nostril and survived. Would those two be your leading colorful figures in the Haynes family?
I suppose. I think so.
I would ask that at some point we have a show on Columbus too.
Let me say this about Landon. He was quick to tell anybody. His phone, the United Telephone System down at Chapel Hill, the manager lived in town there. And Landon's phone had been out for a couple, 3 weeks. And he'd called up there. Will y'all get this phone fixed? So one morning he knocks on Mr. Billy Wilson's door early in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and said, "Mr. Wilson, do you mind if I use your phone? You know mine hadn't been working, and I just need to make a real important call." And Mr. Wilson said, "Boys, I don't care what you do today. You get that phone fixed." So show the picture of the newspaper. Sad, but Landon died in a house fire. There was a lightning strike on the house, and he died at the back door. They say he was putting on his clothes to get out of the house, And probably if he had just gone on out and, you know, but he lingered too long in the house, and he died at 83 years of age.
Was his wife still alive then, John?
Yeah.
Did she make it out?
No, she wasn't. She had died a couple of years before that. But anyway, we kind of recognized Landon Haynes, who was a colorful figure and worked hard, came from a poor family, but in many ways rose above that situation in his life. Thank you so much.
And that, my friends, wraps up segment 74, but it's not the last, we hope, because there's stories to go if management will allow. Thank you all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no. This warrior will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this morning it's a snowy morning out there and there's a lot of people that can't get out. So I thought it would be a perfect morning for telling a little story. And this is a story that I wrote several years back. It's entitled The Tortoiseshell Pick. On the top shelf of the third glass display case to the left in Gruen's guitar store downtown Nashville, there was a genuine tortoiseshell guitar pick proudly displayed for sale. He was not flimsy, thin, like most picks that beginners use, but thick and smooth, a pure piece of tortoiseshell with a rich feel and luster fit for the most accomplished master. He had come to the store in a small special order of high-priced merchandise. Over time, notable musicians had purchased all the other picks like him. One left the store with Chet Atkins, another with Mark Knopfler. So the pick knew that surely a country star would buy him and take him on tour to perform before thousands at the biggest venues in the business. But one day, the unthinkable occurred. While the sales clerks were all working with customers, a purple-haired young man with baggy pants and a torn t-shirt reached into the case and grabbed the tortoiseshell pick and headed to the guitar rack. No one realized the screaming that ensued was the pig screaming for help. How could they, over the banging, thumping, scratching, and screeching sound the kid was wrenching out of the guitar he hammered? Right at the end of this abusive display, the kid slammed a final chord with all of his might. That's when it happened. A chunk flew out of the edge of the last remaining tortoiseshell pick. The kid, pleased with his performance, hung the guitar back on the rack. He flicked the notch in the pick with his thumbnail, shrugged, and threw it down in a bowl of practice picks on a coffee table and walked out the door. A salesman walked into the area after the kid left to check on the guitar. He looked down and saw the damaged tortoiseshell pick, picked it up, ran his finger over the scraped and notched edges. He threw the pick back down in the bowl and walked away, mumbling something about crazy kids and how they destroy everything they touch. Destroy? Destroy? Destroy was right. The kid had destroyed the pick's life, destroyed his career, and destroyed his dreams. He would never be in the hands of a star. He was used. And so it was with the tortoiseshell pick. He stayed in the bowl with the rest of the practice picks, hoping that every now and then he would be picked up and used by a customer trying out a guitar. But he was not used very much. He was picked up a lot because of his pretty color and shine, but most of the time he was traded for a thinner, easier to use pick. So after months, he realized that most of the time when he was used, it was by people who could really play. This fact was driven home to him one day when a young man came in with a radio playing and the pick heard a familiar sound. And the more he listened, he realized he knew every note. Yes, he knew every painful note because it was the same guitar run that the crazy kid had played the day he was broken. Wait a minute, that kid's on the radio. That kid's a star. He had been used by a star. He had been used by a star. From that day forward, his attitude changed. He started paying attention to those who used him and what they played when they picked him up. He listened to every note, the bend of every string, the groove of each rhythm created. He remembered it all deep in his being. The players were different as their music. Some were punks with spiked hair that played hard. Some were older and more worn, looking kind of bluesy and sad. And a lot of them had a cowboy look with pointed boots and big belt buckles who played all about love with a twang. When the pick was not being used, which was often, he tried to listen to the in-store radio. As he did, he realized a lot of the music he played was on the air. Not just the music, but the players who had used him as well. He knew they were his players because he remembered their feel, their expression, their love for the music in every note. Over time, the tortoiseshell pick started to understand what a wonderful gift had been given to him the day the purple-head kid walked in the store. If he had not been broken, surely a star would have bought him and he would have been in the spotlight. The music would have been good, but always mostly the same because that's the way players are. Then one day, he would have been dropped, fallen to the floor beneath the stage and stuck on a piece of gum, washed in a pair of jeans and left in the dryer, or just lost, because that's the way players are. Then the music would have stopped. But there in the bowl of practice picks, he had been a tutor to many stars. Some had picked him up only to throw him back until the time when their talent was ready. Some had used him, talent or no, until they achieved the style they wanted. And let me tell you, this was not always fun. And then there were those times when a master would wander in, pick him up, and stroke one of the finer instruments for a moment or two. When this happened, it was pure pleasure. The most important thing was the music never stopped. It's funny how things turn out sometimes. One moment of perceived torture and abuse at the hands of a child turned into a lifetime of wonderment and joy. Isn't music grand? The tortoiseshell pig. We'll be right back after these messages.
At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. And choosing the right seat for your little one's age and size will take you down the road to safer travels.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
All right, folks, yesterday was Martin Luther King Day, and our man on the street pounding the turf, Andrew Todd, was down at the walk and got a lot of video down there. And so what we're going to do is bring you some various statements from the Martin Luther King celebration in Tullahoma.
We're here to celebrate the marching for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but you know, it's also a community thing. And because he was about community, he was about, actually the community he's talking about was this big community that we're in. And we're all a part of it. And we're all responsible in it. And we all brothers, we all came from the same Adam and Eve, if you believe that. But since we all came from Adam and Eve, then that makes us all kin, huh? We're brothers. You know, so we are responsible for each other. All right, I'm going to have to give a little prayer, and then we're going to get started. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you that you have blessed us this morning, Lord. We thank you for so many people that have come out to be with us, Lord. We want to honor a man that has done great things in this country, Lord. We honor him because he's a great American, Lord. And Lord, what we do today, we're doing it for America and for our community. Lord, we want things to be built up. We don't want to let that problems just fester in our community. We want to do something about it. We thank you for all you've done. Be with us, protect us as we go. Lord, we know that when there's peace in our heart and peace in our community, sometimes people try to rattle that. But Lord, we want you to keep peace this day, Lord, and watch over us. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. This part of the service is called prayer and praise, but it's just a combination of a lot of things. This is when we give other people an opportunity to say something.
I want to give this day is giving honor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Well, first of all, there's several things. I'm going to make a long statement short. Dr. King was for equality. He was a Christian. He came from a Christian background. His father was a pastor. He was very courageous. And I know we have a lot of children here today. And this is very educational, not just for some of the adults that don't know Dr. King, but also he stood for equality. And we would not be the people or have the rights that we have today if it wasn't for others like Dr. King and our heritage. So, and also when I was telling Cameron about Dr. King, it's not just today, January the 15th, it's an everyday celebration for us. Because like I said, a lot of us blacks, Negroes, that was called back in the day, that we would not be able to go into a store or sit at a counter, or he marched for the sanitation workers, or to get paid equal wages because of the color of your skin, you would get less pay. And he stood for that, and he wanted equality. And Dr. King, in his dream, he calls, it's a vision. That he said that one day that people would not, and that is so true today. I mean, racism is going to be here. It probably will never leave. But a lot of times, we're not. There are people in here, you're not judged because of the color of your skin. It's your character, and that's what he stood for.
As I stand here and growing up in this community, I would tell everybody that Tullahoma has always been a very special place. And during the time when the 60s, where a lot of communities had some really serious race problems, we didn't have that. Tullahoma is a community that has evolved from people that came from many different places. And it's not so much just the ingrown Southern type influence. And so we have benefited from that, and will continue to. But we'll only benefit from it if we all do what we're supposed to do. So there's a couple things I would like to pass on today is that, first of all, Mr. Cooley said something really amazing earlier in his talk, is that Dr. King didn't stand for anything that wasn't already in the Constitution. That's serious. That's a very serious thing. It was not like he was asking for something additional. The rights, the inalienable rights that everybody has, is all that he was asking for. But he was asking for not only for us, blacks, which was the dominant reason, but he was asking from any oppressed group of people. And what I'd like to say today is that, you know, the one thing that I would like for everybody to really think of again is a lot of the situations that we face in our country today is because we put it there. See, the way the system works is the people that are elected are a reflection, and the things they stand for are the reflection of who votes for them. So, you know, as we stand here today and we look at problems, and I will tell you, you know, we're in a time where the oppressed people are at problems. And oppressed is not certain race. Oppressed could be economical status. And everybody in this room needs to stand for those who can't stand for themselves. And stand up for the right when it is oppressing someone else. Because that was the dream. It wasn't just about a certain group of people, it was about oppression. And as we look at the United States today, there's becoming a big divide between those that are economically oppressed, and that's any race. It's a social status thing. We're hearing that more and more, or a group of people because of color of their skin or the pigment of the skin. But the only way to change the direction we're going is you're going to have to be involved. You know, it's a day-to-day life thing. And I agree with this lady here. You know what? Your children are going to take on what they see from you and the people you're around and the things that you do. And if you remain silent, your children be silent. You know, it's all right to come up here today, and we all honor this, but you got to leave here today, and you got to carry the message. And so all I will say is I am very thankful to be here in Tullahoma. I'm very thankful to see what has happened over time, and I am very thankful for the way that this community bonds together.
We are all one spirit. We are of one spirit. When God put humankind here, God breathed life into us. Here we are. We are privileged to be in Tullahoma, Tennessee, and we have a great responsibility to love ourselves, each other, this community. I'm repeating what's already been said today. Prejudice has to be taught. I always think of songs in situations, and I think of the song from South Pacific, You Have to Be Taught. So we have to teach love. We have to show it. And I too am so thrilled to see children here today. And I felt kind of silly, but I was trying to tell John Moses Fields what segregation was and integration. He's 4 years old. And I thought, how did it ever happen if we're all the same? how were we separated? So I'm thankful he's here, and I can stand up for him as a precious child of God and say, I love you, and I want you to have a good life in this community. And I'm going to do everything I can to ensure that. And I know you all are here for the same reason.
So when Dr. King was alive, he went and spoke to many synagogues about the situation in the nation. And even on this day, synagogues meet on Friday night and Saturday morning. And even as of this day, many synagogues throughout the nation are bringing into remembrance Dr. King's work, simply because he heard the inaudible voice of injustice, and he took the stand to change it to justice.
If every voice and sing, children in heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let every sound loud as the rolling sea.
The animal shelter has served Tullahoma dogs for nearly 30 years. Now, you can help us build a bigger and better no-kill shelter. Your tax-deductible gift is matched dollar for dollar. So come on, bark it forward and donate now to have your tax-deductible gift matched. Make your check payable to the COT Shelter Building Fund and go to tullahomatn.gov to see all the unique gifts available for your generosity. For more details, you can call City Hall at 455-2648.
You know, watching the MLK video right there reminds me of the fact that Darius Wallace, who has been to Tullahoma and performed at South Jackson twice, doing the poetry of Langston Hughes and Frederick Douglass, portraying Frederick Douglass, will be here February the 9th to do Martin Luther King. So that's going to be at South Jackson Civic Center. I just want to throw that in. This young man is absolutely phenomenal. He's one of the most talented people I've ever been around. And he is a wonderful actor, storyteller, poet, and reader. And just need to go see this. Now, what we're going to do right now is, because South Jackson Civic Center is having their gala this Saturday night right here in the Markham building, right across the hall from our studio. It's their fundraising, yearly annual fundraising event, and it is all about big band singers. And there's about 10 or 12. Last week we had Sophie Tucker on. This week we're going to bring you a little bit of Frank Sinatra, but there's Kate Smith, Dinah Shore. They're all going to be right across the hall here this Saturday night. You can still buy a ticket. Call South Jackson Civic Center 455-5321 and reserve your ticket now. It'll be great fun. Frank Sinatra.
You realize he's been dead for 3 months? We haven't had the heart to tell him. Look how good he looks. That's that cat. That man, baby. Got that great style and that walk and everything. That's great. He's much younger than Robert Stack, I'll tell you that. Robert Stack is now on ads for Gucci. Luggage. Father, you want to take charge? You want to come up here and get me off here or something? Let me see now. I want to also introduce to you you met our little group here, including Charlie, and I would now like you to say hello to these multi-talented musicians in this wonderful orchestra, probably the best ever in this city. I'm not putting down all the other orchestras in town, but I prefer this particular orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Bravo. It's a little better than the band at the Silver Slipper or the Thunderbird. I mean Thunderbird. Silverbird. I never heard anybody say, I just came from the Silverbird and I had a hell of a time. Holy jeez. Madona's hot in here. This is Paul Anka's classic arrangement with, classic song, and Don Costa's great arrangement. I hate this song. Oh, I hate this song. Yeah, you sing it for 8 years, you would hate it too. Don't give me that jazz. Sure, I love it. I'd like to get one every week. The little Arab, he only writes one every 7 years for me. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll make it clear, I'll state my case, of which I am certain. I've lived a life that's full, traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do. I saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I guess you knew, when I bit off much more than I could chew. But with it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up, then spit it out. I grew tall in spite of it all, and did it my way. I've laughed and cried. I had my fill, my share of losing. And now as tears subside, I find it's all quite amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy, no, 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 no. It was my way. is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way.
And Don Costa's wonderful arrangement. Thank you very much. Please sit down. Thank you.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department. Need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one!
Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Yeah, well, Frank Sinatra was talking about writing a song and getting one every 7 years. I've got a writing buddy of mine I've been writing with 20 some odd years now. Tim Daly lives up in Dixon. And Tim's one of those people who called me up. He called me up one morning about 2 o'clock in the morning and said he'd just been watching an Errol Flynn movie about pirates and all this stuff. And he said, I got a great idea for a song. And I said, what is it? And he said, I sailed across the ocean to show the queen that I could. And I said, yeah, what's next? And he said, oh, I don't know, finish it. So I did, and the title of this is Everything, and it's funny how that first statement that he made ended up turning into something that is my personal definition of my faith, which is that I believe that the essence of God is within everything, within each of us, all of us, and everything that surrounds us. Everything.
I sailed across the ocean to show the queen that I could. I walked with an Indian princess beneath the virgin woods. I raised the flag in a distant land. And just before war, I had all I could stand. On every story ever told, I'm 1 in a million years old, and I am everything. The redwood forest to Saturn's rings, a tidal wave, a drop of dew, a breath of life in all of you. I'm history and future, yeah, everyone you've ever met. Rock of Ages, hear them sing. I'm everything. I was the first one to ever walk on the moon. I'm Beethoven's fifth, well, I'm a Beatles tune. I'm the last cross made out of straight dogwood. I'm all that's bad, and I am all that's good. I'm every story ever told. I'm 1 in a million years old, and I am everything. The redwood forest to Saturn's rings, a tidal wave, a drop of dew, the breath of life in all of you. I'm history and future, yeah, everyone you've ever met. Rock of Ages, hear them sing. I'm everything. I'm everything. I'm everything.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family, caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
All right, folks, we're back, and I hope you enjoyed everything. It's a pretty cool feeling to be able to put something together like that, and but that's what writers do. We take little nuggets and turn them into something that we hope other people will enjoy. What we're going to do right now is we're going to end the show with Brenda Cannon. And she was the keynote speaker at the Martin Luther King celebration yesterday. And of course, Brenda's been a part of our community, and I worked out at Motlow College for a long time, and been involved with the Chamber of Commerce and so many things. She certainly deserves the microphone on a special day, Martin Luther King Day. It's Brenda Cannon.
I would like to introduce to you a very, very dear friend of mine, Miss Brenda Cannon.
Good morning. I am the woman with the big voice, but I also, and I'm going to kind of move this around, okay, so I can be able to flip my pages without being distracted, okay? I am the woman with the big voice, but I'm also a speech major. That was my undergraduate degree. So I have been taught to project my voice. So it's not so loud. I've just learned to project my voice. I was also a cheerleader in my younger days. All of that attributes to that, and I sing and I do all of that thing, and it calls for volume. Good morning, and how sweet it is.
I always knew that Brenda was in the room.
That's right. That's what people say about me all the time. Beloved, I greet you in the spirit of love and in the joy of this consecrated holiday, the King holiday, which honors the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a drum major for peace and justice, a preacher, and sometimes a politician, a husband and a father, a leader and a follower. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. As we gather to celebrate the one and only, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we center our celebration around the question, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Ironically, Dr. King asked this question 51 years ago in 1967 as he reflected on the problems of then today's world. Ironically and sadly, 51 years later, we ask the same question. Where do we go from here? The sad truth is that our world has not changed. As we memorialize the 50th anniversary of the King assassination, we find our nation taking giant steps backwards rather than forwards. The woes that plagued Dr. King 50 years ago continue to plague us today. Racism is still alive and well. Amen. The Trump administration reminds us of this daily. When has America ever heard such harsh, foul, racist, vulgar statements come out of the Oval Office? In 2018, we should be ashamed to have such overt, public, racist statements coming from the commander-in-chief of the world's most powerful and influential nation, the United States of America. Regretfully, poverty still reigns. We still earn 1/2 of the income of our white counterparts. We are still locked out of the best neighborhoods. And for those who are allowed in, their interest rates are higher than their counterparts. And they are still viewed as intruders. Martin said, of all the good things in life, we, the Negro, have 1/2 of those of whites. Of all the bad things in life, we, the Negro, have twice as many as those as white. We are twice as likely to be unemployed. The infant mortality rate is twice as high among black children than white children, and the crime rate and unnecessary killing in neighborhoods is twice as high in the black community compared to our white counterparts. Our college-going rate is half of that of whites, yet our incarceration rate is twice as high. Inequity, injustice still reigns. And for those of us who really think we have it good, that we've arrived, that we have the right address, don't fool yourself. Amen. Don't fool yourself. America is giving you a wake-up call. Amen. But fear not, we shall overcome. Now that the backdrop has been staged, the question remains, where do we go from here? Thanks to James Weldon Johnson, he charted our paths when he penned the words, "Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over the ways that with tears have been watered. We have come treading the path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the bright gleam of our bright star is cast. Let this affirmation be our ringing cry. Let this affirmation be the banner that we hold in our darkest hours as well as our brightest moments. Let this affirmation be the cornerstone on which we build our lives, our communities, and our homes. It will give us courage to face the uncertainties of the future. It will give us new strength as we continue our forward movement toward equality. May we always remember there is a creative force in this universe making a way out of no way. There is a creative force that transforms dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. Let us remember that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it is bent toward justice. Dr. King said, the dignity of an individual will flourish when the decisions concerning his life are in his hands, when he has the means to seek self-improvement. From Maine to Maryland, Mississippi to Missouri, California to Colorado, Vermont to Virginia, Tennessee to Texas, Alaska to Alabama, and Tulsa to Tullahoma, the nation has paused by gathering people of all races, creeds, origins, religious preferences, genders, sexual orientations, and socioeconomic statuses together to celebrate and to memorialize the King holiday. What a powerful movement. What a powerful movement. Where do we go from here? We celebrate. We celebrate heroes and heroines. We celebrate Coretta Scott King, Dexter, Bernice, Yolanda, and Martin III because they shared their husband and their fathers with the world so that we might enjoy the freedoms and privileges that we experience today. To celebrate this day allows us the opportunity to publicly honor the dreamer and the dream. It allows us to remember the foot soldiers, the 4 little girls killed at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham. It gives us an opportunity to remember Emmett Till, Medgar Evers, Billie Holiday, Ralph Abernathy, and Professor C.D. States. We need to remember and thank Commissioner Jackie Duncan and former Alderman J.T. Northcutt and others. To celebrate, we acknowledge scholars and scientists, domestics and CEOs, athletes and entertainers, preachers and politicians, teachers and tutors, neighbors and friends. We celebrate you, and you, because you have the battle scars. You know firsthand the injustices. You have made the sacrifices, and you continue to stand on the solid rock that has been our rock since time. You know the peaks and the valleys. You have experienced the sunshine and the rain, and you know the tragedy and the triumph. You know the back of the bus as well as you know the front of the bus. You know what it is like to be tired of being tired, yet you keep moving along. You keep inching along, believing for a brighter day. You gain courage and strength in the song, I Don't Feel No Ways Tired. I've come too far from where I've started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Where do we go from here? We go forward. Where do we go from here? We go forward. Where do we go from here? We go forward. We've come too far to turn around. We must go forward. During this movement, a popular song ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I gotta keep on to Galilee. We must position and reposition ourselves to methodically and strategically move onward and upward. We must become active in our communities. Our voices must be heard. Our faces must be seen. We must run for public office. We must attend county commission meetings. We must go to school board meetings and city meetings. We must go see our children before they call us, before the parent-teacher conference. We need to let them know that we love our children as much as they love their children. We must empower ourselves with information because knowledge is power. We must know the issues. We must research the issues. We must be informed. We must become formally educated and trained. Make the sacrifice to invest in yourself and in your children and in your children's education. And if you can't go, do the next best thing. Help send somebody. Make education and training a priority, a commitment, as well as an expectation and a mandate. Just as you are willing to co-sign a loan for your child to have a car, I challenge you to co-sign a loan so that your child can get an education. If you make this investment, your child will buy his own car. You must make a personal commitment. Realize it can be you as well as the next person. President Obama said it best, yes we can, yes we can, yes we can. I say yes you can, yes you can, yes you can. You can step out and challenge injustice. You can step up and let your voice be heard. Freedom is never free. You owe a debt to freedom. People died so that you could live. People died so that you could sit in a restaurant and eat. People died so you could vote, and you dare not go vote. People died so you could attend the best schools in the best neighborhoods, yet you failed to apply yourself. People died so you can live in the neighborhood that you used to look at and drive by. And now that you live there, you forget to invite your friends over. In our quest to move faster and further, we forgot to reach back and to bring somebody along. The mandate still rings true. Each one reach one. Martin said, I cannot be all that I can be until you become all that you can be. We are interlocked. My success hinges on your success, and your success hinges on my success. Therefore, let us lock arms in a united front and keep moving. Harriet Tubman said, if you hear the dogs, keep going. If you see the torch in the woods, keep going. If they're shouting after you, keep going. Don't ever stop. Keep going. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going. Where do we go from here? We go forward. You are the people charged with the responsibility of making an indelible footprint in this community. You are the people who must change attitudes, lives, and conditions one person at a time. You must become the unsung heroes. Some will describe you as extraordinary. You are simply ordinary people committed to doing extraordinary tasks. Maya Angelou describes us as conquerors in the poem, I Rise, Still I Rise. She says, you may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust rise. Miriam Williamson said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. As we let our light shine, we unconsciously give people permission to do the same. As we liberate from our fears, our presence automatically liberates others. The King holiday is our reminder that we all have the same issues. They're just on different levels. It is an opportunity to showcase our greatness as well as to express our disparities and to actualize our dreams. This is an opportunity to celebrate who we are, what we are, and from whence we have come. This is an opportunity to serve, for we all know that service is the rent we pay for the gift of life. We can celebrate because we have victoriously triumphed in areas that should have defeated us. We celebrate because we enjoy our fundamental rights. We celebrate because we are the torch bearers. We are designed for greatness. We Care Committee, elected officials, youth, parents, sisters and brothers, you are the drum majors. You are the tall trees, the strong limbs, and the deep roots in this community. You are standing on the backs of your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. Each generation should be an anchor and a light for the next generation. I am standing on your shoulders, and the generation behind me shall stand on mine, because our roots run deep as the Euphrates River. We have and will always have reason to observe and to celebrate the King holiday. One of Dr. King's favorite songs was the Battle Hymn of Republic. The lyrics go, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed his faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. As his truth marches on, so shall the truth that embodies the life and the works of Dr. Martin Luther King. This same truth should direct our lives as we continue as ambassadors of freedom, justice, equality, and reconciliation. Just as social justice marchers sang, "We shall overcome" 50 years ago, we sing 50 years later, "We shall overcome." We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. Where do we go from here? We go forward, and we refuse to look back. We refuse to step back. Where do we go from here? We go forward. Where do we go from here? We go forward.